Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, today's title is basically what's love got to do with it. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because I know there's a lot of folks out there telling lies on women about how we're only after men for their money, yada yada yada. And I really want to break down what we're saying so that folks begin to understand some things, okay? First things first, you guys know I'm a mom, right? And I do not have a boy, okay? And I say this because any man that comes into my life who would think that it was proper to behave as a boy would have to understand that I do not have a boy. Okay, meaning that I do not know how to mother a boy. I do not know how to do anything outside of watch a boy for probably a few seconds, minutes, maybe an hour to such and such, right? I'm not mommy to a boy. Okay. So my tolerance for certain behaviors is going to be very slim to none because, again, I've not had to foster or cultivate some of those traits to be able to raise a boy. Right. And I say this because I'm a grown ass woman. Therefore, I expect to attract a grown ass man. Do you understand? Not a boy. Okay. And there are differences when it comes to what a grown man should be, at least in a woman's eyes, versus what a boy is. They're two very different things. Okay. And so I say that first and foremost because if you're coming to my channel and I'm talking about certain things, I'm going to speak on certain things and I don't care if it hurts your feelings or not. Okay. We put big girl panties on, big boy panties on, right? And I think that that's what is at this stage of life, right? We should be having conversations that propel us forward, not dealing with the sensitivities and the lack of maturity that seems to occur, whether it be from my side or your side, right? We're not dealing with that shit. Okay. Now, if you disagree with me, you can disagree, but I would say that, we can agree to disagree. You're not here to I'm not really, I don't care to convince anybody. I just want to remind folks that I'm a woman, right? I'm not posing as one. I am one. And so therefore, I think I'm best qualified to speak from a woman's standpoint, right? And it's unfortunate because you have a lot of girls that also play in this field, and not every girl is a woman. So I want to be clear on that. Okay. Not every woman is qualified. Okay. I don't know that I'm qualified to speak on everything, but I can speak on some things because I feel as though I truly embody a lot of what I feel like I'm about to say. Okay. So when you walk it, you can speak it because you're living it, right? So here's the deal. When it comes to love, I know a lot of folks, and I've said this time and time again in my life, right? Love has nothing to do with nothing, right? While I appreciate love in a relationship, right? I value, well, we'll say quote unquote love because I think people have different understandings and ideas of love. And something that I've noticed in a situation, right, is that love is an action word. That's what I believe love is, right? Meaning that for me, I could tell a person I love them, but because we've diluted the words I love you, right? People tend to use these words carelessly and recklessly, right? So to me, I love you means absolutely nothing unless there's action behind it that I can say, yes, that's love. Yes, that's appreciation. Yes, that's that because that's what I feel, right? That's what I'm being shown, right? I can't just take the words I love you and believe somebody loves me. I've never been that girl, and I think life has shown me that I'm just never going to be that girl, right? So if for example, if I was dealing by man's logic, right? If I was dealing with a man who told me he loved me, it's very conflicting when you're not showing actions that do not display love, right? So naturally, as a woman, I'm not the girl that's just gonna go along with that bullshit. Right? It's gonna be very difficult for me to say it back. I may not say it back. Right? It causes a level of confusion that doesn't really need to be. Right? Okay, I'm just gonna put it that way. So when a man tells a woman that he loves her, the way in which you show that love and you demonstrate that love is via action off the rip. And I think that a lot of folks, like I say, they have gotten comfortable with saying I love you, right? Doing a few actions here and there, like the love bombing bullshit or whatever, right? That's not genuine and authentic. It comes from a different kind of place. And as a result of it is felt because it's not honest, it is not genuine. Okay. So as a woman, right? Love ain't got shit to do with it, right? Because I could love you, and I want to be very clear. I know that men have told themselves that if a woman walks away, she doesn't love you, but that's some bullshit. A woman will love you and still walk away, homie. That's the difference between us and I think men. Cause that ain't us. I hear that shit all the time. Well, if they really loved you, they would have stayed. No, not when you're making them choose themselves over you, right? And in situations where I am not happy, I am stressed out, I am crying all the time, I am sad all the time, I am miserable all the time, I don't want to wake up all the time. These are negative emotions that I've experienced in relationships, right? Where love was supposed to be the focus, but it wasn't quite. Okay. And I don't believe that a woman should have to tolerate shit like that. I shouldn't have to wake up feeling like I don't want to live or I'm miserable or whatever, right? Because I'm dealing with an individual who only wants to put me down, only wants to see me down, only wants to kick me down, does not add value to my life. So, as a woman, and I'm saying a woman because as a grown ass woman, we understand that love only has but so much to do with a relationship. And if you're asking me to, and this is the thing, I would say this, it's like a key component, but it ain't the only key component. Okay. Meaning that if you respect me and I respect you, that's good. That's good. You see what I'm saying? Like I feel like if the person had all the traits that embodied love, we'd be fine. But that includes love for oneself. So when a woman is telling a man, well, listen, you got to have some money in your pocket. I don't think I would phrase it that way. And yes, some women are very transactional, but I think that men have created that type of reality for women. If men behave in a transactional manner, it does not behoove the woman to then deal with love and matters of the heart and transactional events. So if the man is saying, "Well, I smashed and now I'm on to the next," that's transactional. Men are very, I don't think a lot of men, I'm not saying all, because again, we're talking about a specific type of man, right? Because I don't think all men are like this. But I know that men naturally have a underlying way about themselves, just like women do. And women have to cultivate that and refine it just like men do. But I think a lot of women are taught very young how to be versus men. Okay, especially in today's society where you had a bunch of kids raising kids, right? So, um, I think that for women, if you're dealing with a woman, it's not that a man has to have six figures or more, right? Now, the reality of it is when you're dealing with women, women are making a little bit more. And so naturally, those kinds of women, I mean, a lot settle, right? Because I think that there's that self-love piece, right? That's missing. But ultimately, a woman of any level should um be dating at her level or higher. And I don't think that it's just financial. Although I've not seen it yet. Like in terms of what I'm about to say, I've not seen too much of this, if that makes sense. And I really don't know how I feel about it because of the kind of woman I am, like my personality. But I would think that what we mean by meeting us at our level or higher, right, is someone who, if I'm doing the work to be better, to build a career, to work on the individual aspects that may not be the best parts of myself, right? To working hard at presenting, putting my best foot forward every single day, right? I would think that that means that you would have to have an individual, a counterpart who is also doing the same. So it's not just monetary value. Like I say all the time, the high value man is not the man with all the money. Money is just a byproduct of what you embody every day, I would say. I think that's the wrong term, but it is just a byproduct of who you are and or who you are becoming. It does not mean that you have good character traits. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you are the best person to be to qualify as a husband or a wife. It doesn't mean that. Just means you made some choices and or you were, life was destined for you to be where you're at. So as a woman chasing a man for his money, that mm, I don't know. That's not a realistic like thought process. Cuz as a woman who has dated men with money, you understand that not all men with money are good men. So, as a woman, right, when it comes to what we're talking about in terms of love, right? Because I would even go so far as what your money got to do with it. Your money has, this is the thing. If you're saying that you are qualified, when a man approaches a woman, he is telling a woman that he feels that he is qualified to be in talking to her, dealing with her, whatever. Okay, and from a woman's standpoint, we're looking at it like, okay, so I got X, Y, and Z going on. Are you really qualified to be in front of me right now? And that means that if I was to take a man into my life, right, and I was to say, okay, I want to give this a shot, even if it was for love, right? Although I'm not that foolish. Okay. Um, he has to add value. There can be no, I'm crying every day, I'm, miserable every day. Like those things are not an option because they do not produce what is the byproduct? Money that I need to be able to sustain my lifestyle. So any man that comes into my life has to be able to understand that, meaning that if I understand that about my life, that I cannot be on low vibrational emotions because they do not add value to my life, right? The man has to understand that for his life. That's equally yoked. The man has to understand, I got business to handle. I don't got time to be in my emotions, pity and partying. And every now and then, okay, cool. Like I say, I'm in my emotions too, but I still get up every day, handle my business, and I take care of what I perceive to be a problem. I expect that from the man that says he's qualified to be with me. Do you understand that? I actually expect that times two from the man who is qualified to be with me. Everything that I am and I embody right now in my life, if a man was to approach me to date, he would have to be the equivalent to what I am. There is no negotiating. Now, the money aspect of things, if you're equivalent to what I am, I would assume that you're capable of taking care of self. That's it. We can build off of that. We cannot build if you cannot take care of self. It's just that simple. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, I'm homeless and I'm struggling taking care of myself. I'm not struggling. I mean, by the grace of God, I'm not struggling. Not. So I'll be damned if I'm dealing with a man who's struggling. Do you understand me? That's not an option. Equally yoked, period. That is what it says in the Bible. There is no ifs, ands, or buts or negotiations. Okay, so the average man doesn't make $100,000 a year. I don't either. That ain't got shit to do with shit. As long as a man can provide for himself first, that is the biggest deal. And as a man, if you're planning on having a wife and kids, then fuck, okay, we could take the wife out of it. You got, if you're planning on having kids, right, for a second, just to help the logic and help folks understand, kids cost money. So if you know that you want that at some point in your life, you should be not only building to take care of self, well, not even fuck, you should be able to take care of self where I'm at in my life right now. There's really no excuse at this age. But not only that, if you want kids, you should be planning for those kids. You should be planning out your life. So obviously that means that as a woman, I mean, we do the same thing. It should be the same way. To me, this is not a gender role issue. This is just common sense. If I say that I want to live a life for myself, I should be building the income and the stability and the infrastructure to be able to live that lifestyle. Period. If I say I want a husband and kids, I mean, I don't know that I don't know that women, I mean, for women, it is a little different because I don't know that we all build for husband and kids. Like, I don't know that we're building our lives for, like, even if I wanted a husband, I was never, and maybe I could be wrong, ladies, but I don't think part of the program was for us to start stacking money for a husband and kids one day. Like, I don't know if that's in our programming, right? But us having money to be able to do whatever it is we want to do, that is in our programming. That, I mean, that should be in most girls' programmings. Um, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe in that aspect, it's a little different because the man still is seen as someone who provides. But I don't think that that's like wrong. I don't think that, okay, well, a man having to build for the family that he says he wants is wrong. Like, I feel like that's always how it's always been. I feel like men have always had to bring something monetarily to the table, whether it be assets, whether it be money, whether it be, barter and trade. Like, it's always had to be something, right? To get that woman's hand in marriage, right? So for me, I don't understand what the logic behind, it's not fair. Like, you're not fucking women, right? I think that everybody plays their own roles. And in that case, again, if a man says he wants a family, he's bringing what he's got times two to the table, at least. If it's more, kudos. But we like, because how I see it is, if I get with a man that's on an equal playing field, how then do we really prepare for a child? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he would have to get a raise. Like, I wouldn't mind dating him at an equal level. But at some point, because we gonna have to be, very protective, because I don't want no kids that I'm struggling to take care of. I feel like if I was to have kids again, my kids should have everything that they ever wanted. Not saying that they would get it, but it's the mindset of being able to do for my kid. So if you're not coming to the table, and I would hope, again, as women, you're managing your finances. As a woman, our goal, at least what I do, is managing your finances so that you can plan for future shit, right? So whatever that is, whether it's kids, traveling, whatever you want to do with it. And I guess it would be the same as a man, right? Because you're still saving for future things, right? Whether it be you want a wife and kids, or you want to own a home, or whatever. I would assume that that would be the same thing, because then if you've messed up, but if you turned around and had a kid, you still be able to provide for the kid. So I would think that as a man, that's just, again, in a woman, I feel like most women, I don't know. Women I know are already doing that, though. I know a lot of women that probably ain't doing it, but I also know 10 times more women that are already doing that. So I don't think that women are asking for men to make tons and tons of money, right? We're not asking men to make six figures a year. I think young girls are, because I don't think they always understand the principle behind what's being asked. But the logic is common sense. One should be able to take care of oneself, right? Anything we build together is extra, right? Any cushion we got on top of top of whatever is extra. Simple and plain. But I'm not going to date with the intent to be in love, and dudes don't got no money. Dude ain't got his shit together. You ain't driving my car. You ain't even stepping foot in my house. So that's like, and I'm not coming to your house until I know you. So the only way you gonna know me is through a proper date. Right. And that's why I say, I told my cousin, I said, I might not even get married. I promise you, because the person that I am, the man has to do what I say. He ain't got no other option. To get to know me, you're not going to be able to get even close. You ain't going to be able to follow me, because the moment I notice you behind me, I'm speeding, I'm taking off, right? Like, you going to have to be able to keep up, homie. I'm not letting you in my car. No, I can't do you any favors, sir, because I got shit I got to do. And if I can't do those things, there are things that happen with, like, if you damage my car, I ain't got no other car. You put me in a position I refuse to be in. If I don't got rent money, I ain't got a place to live. So, I'm just saying, I'm not going out of my way to help nobody unless I know that it's mutual, it's reciprocated. And that takes a long time to kind of build. And that shit ain't built in no 3 months. I'm sorry. Unless the man is putting in work and the woman is going, with it. But that shit ain't built in 3 fucking months, bro. Sorry. So for me as a woman, unless the man, because all this, I'm going on a first date and now the woman's paying. Well, I pay for myself. Good luck to you. And see, I'm the kind of woman, the moment you start pulling some bullshit with me, okay, waiter, I don't even need to do it in front of you. I can just go to the waitress, go to the front, pay what I gotta pay. And I don't even need to tell you I'm going to use the restroom, right? I'm just, oh, okay, well, excuse me for a second. I'm going and paying for my meal and I'm driving off, sir. Have fun with that. Like, I don't, as a woman, I don't have to play those games. I'm not playing them. So as a man, when women say you have to be able to bring something to the table, it ain't got shit to do with no six figures. Cause see, a woman can make that like I'm young enough where I'm guaranteed to die. As long as I keep going the way I'm going, I'm guaranteed to die making six figures. Like that's what people don't understand. Well, some people are so on track, and I'm actually behind, by the way. I should have been making, knowing what I know now, if my 30s flip flop, but who knows? Who knows? Because the stuff that I had to learn in my 20s are valuable lessons. And I always will say this, that young people and most people have not figured out yet. So I don't know. I can't say that if things were flip flopped, I'd be in a better position, because those lessons have the power to make or break you. And if I didn't know those lessons, I probably would have been dealing with certain shit in my 30s that could have completely crumbled my reality, right? But I think that if I trusted myself enough because of the person that I've always been in my 20s, if I had enough confidence, I probably, if the roles, if I could flip the two, I would have been making six figures now, well beyond six figures. Like I would have been on my way, knowing what I know now, right? And as hungry as I wanted. I don't think that in my 20s I had enough discipline and or was hungry enough. Again, I dabbled, I learned a lot of things. That's what led me here, but I could have learned a hell of a lot more. Let's put it this way, right? But I didn't know. So I genuinely believe my life was meant to start in my 30s and up. Like, I'm ecstatic to see what my life is about to be like in my 40s. Like, I know that sounds crazy, y'all, but I have enough wisdom under my belt. I feel like, and I'm learning different things as I go, but I have enough wisdom under my belt now that I know that I'm about, like, there ain't nothing but the sky's the limit as long as I don't allow anyone or anything to limit me. Do you understand? So for me, I'm excited about life, but I also know that I could have been where I'm going now. I could have been there. But again, to what extent, right? Would I have understood life, right? So I'm grateful for the things that I learned in my 20s, because those were some hard lessons that people who are older than me still haven't figured out yet. The things that I learned are things that are going to help me to really keep things, one, not allow nobody to run over me, right? To stay balanced in whatever I do, because the moment you off balance, somebody can buy you for whatever price, whatever thing, whatever. I had to go through certain things, because it's like I feel like if I was to make a lot of money in the way that I dream of making a lot of money, right? I would have to embody certain characteristics, certain personality traits, right? That allow me to continue making that money and managing that money. And so a lot of those come with certain life lessons that I learned very early on, right? And I probably could have learned a lot sooner if I wasn't so damn stubborn, right? But I learned very early on. And now it's like, okay, you've been there before. You can take it and run. You know what to do now. You know what not to do, what who to hang with, who not to hang with. Like my discernment is on point. And because of that, I feel as though as long as I could, because see, I'm still learning the magnitude of my power. I still am, because now I'm dealing with real world situations, real life, everyday situations. This ain't COVID no more. So by the time me in 10 years, I'm like, dang, I'm still growing. I'm still learning. So it's like, whoa, like I don't know who I'm about to be in 10 years. I just like it. I like it. So as a woman, I can't afford anybody that's under me, right? It has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It's like, but you don't understand the magnitude of what it took to get here, right? A person who has never had their own place over a person who has worked hard for their place and actually pays for their place, right? And pays the bills and knows what it takes to get up every day to make sure that they can come out their pockets $1,500+ a month just to pay their rent. That person is going to most likely be the one to take care of it. They're going to treat it with respect. They're going to ensure that they do what they need to do every single month to make sure that they can upkeep what they have, versus the person who ain't never worked for it, who don't know what it takes, who's whining and moaning and bitching on how to get there. And it's not my job to uplift you. I think that's where women get it fucked up. A person who chooses to be on the bottom chooses to. I don't care what your life circumstances are. I'm sorry. I know that people have coddled folks and made people feel as though the card you're dealt, you deserve pity for. It's like, yeah, you do as a kid. As a kid, people's hearts go out for you. But when you become an adult, it has become your responsibility to seek better than, period. And if you choose not to, and you choose to go the way that you're going, and you're not asking questions, and you're not realizing that, hey, maybe the people that are doing a little bit better than me are doing something a little bit different. What are they doing? If you're not asking them kinds of questions, bro, that ain't my problem. And I know that that's a harsh reality. And I feel like a lot of men, when they talk about how they don't want women because a lot of women expect you to make 100K, these are coming from men that aren't even making 50K. And so in your mind, it feels like as a woman, the man is giving up because he's saying, I can't obtain that, but he hasn't even tried. Women, try. I don't feel pity on you because you didn't go get an education. That's your fault. It ain't like you didn't have, even as a black man, that you still, even as a man, fuck this, because it's a lot of different races that are embodying this stupid rhetoric, right? But you had a choice to go to college. You had a choice to go get a trade. In fact, men have options to do things that women don't. As a woman, I'm not going to fucking do, bro. But y'all, landscaping makes a hell of a lot of money, right? Plumbing, all these little trades, electricians, that is a choice. Mechanics, right? These are industries that you can make money in. It is a choice to say, you know what, I'm gonna run the streets and I'm not gonna go learn that trade. That is a choice. There are options to get it for free, and folks are still choosing the streets over getting a trade, getting an education, and doing what they gotta do. I know the folks at 55K a year are trying to figure out how to make more. Their mindset ain't on, oh well, the woman wants me to make 100K. I know plenty of men that have gotten married at making 50K, to black women, to women in general. The fuck? Because together, now I'm not saying that making 50K your whole life. I mean, that ain't, again, I don't know. I don't know. Because if I'm up here and I'm growing as I'm with you and you still stuck down here, well, then there's something off about that dynamic, because we should only be growing together. So it ain't about, it's about money, but it's more about one's love for self first. Like that, I think that's where people be screwing up. You so focused on why a woman don't love you, but you don't, why we ain't marrying for love, but you don't even love yourself to even be asking that kind of question. Get your shit right. Get yourself together first. Like, it is so baffling to me how folks that ain't even together are so focused on relationships. But honestly, I believe that when you're poor, and this is just from experience, the idea of a relationship saving you seems easier than trying to pull yourself out of certain situations that got you where you at in the first place. it's easier to get distracted by, right? Um, other people and other people's problems, right? Because now you don't have to think about yours. But the reality of it is that doesn't work. That's not the way to do things. That's not real love. I feel like love is an action word. And unfortunately, part of action requires money. And it doesn't mean it's not about, like I said, it's not about the woman taking you for all your money or expecting you to make 100K. It's just, yo, if we're gonna marry, you should be able to, meet me where I'm at and still be able to pay for my maintenance and a child's maintenance. I'm not saying that as a woman, the maintenance is gonna fall all on you. I don't think that that's how that works. I don't know, especially for working women. But you should have it, meaning that if I don't got it, you should have it. Just say it. So I think that men have exaggerated what women are really asking for. What we're asking for is not too much. And I think that if a man wants to be the head of a household, it is what it is. You know. You cannot be the head and not be able to provide. Just as I think it's different because I think that sometimes there's this ideology that women should have to, there can't be two providers in the household. But I think that in this stage of my life, I would still be essentially a provider, meaning that I'm not going to be waiting on you to handle what I got to handle. I ain't gonna be waiting on you to figure out what I need to be able to do. Like that's just not me. I don't mind checking in with you, but if you telling me, well, babe, I don't get paid until Friday and I got the money today, I'ma handle what I want to handle today. Do you understand me? Unless we saving and you and I talked about it and we gonna save some money to buy a house or something like that. But outside of that, I'm not, listen. Mm-mm. I don't, if I want to go buy me some makeup today, I'm going to go buy me some makeup today. I am not waiting until you get paid, sir, to go buy me some makeup. Right? Those types of things. That's just like, that's what I feel like a woman's money really is for. If I want to pitch in on bills, it depends on the relationship dynamic. I don't necessarily agree with 50-50 unless the man is okay with me making 50-50 decisions, meaning that you gonna treat me with a level of respect that you have, like just like you would a roommate, right? And there better not be no, oh, I'm the man of this house. No, because I'm the woman of this house. You understand me? So a 50-50 relationship for me, if that was the case, I've never been in that kind of dynamic, but my assumption is that the respect level has to be equal. Everything has to be equal, from the everything, all decisions for the household, everything. um and if I'm in a relationship with a man that's like, nah, I got you, like I said, at that point maybe bills is about as far as I go. Like I said, my old roommate, because he was more like a father figure, I pitched in way less rent than he pitched in. That's kind of the dynamic that I'm used to. That's the dynamic I'm accustomed to. I'm not really used to going 50-50. I'm used to the man providing the most. But I know that women have their reservations about that, but that's just what I'm accustomed to, right? And then obviously my money is used for whatever I want to use it for. Hopefully, I would think that women, when you're in those situations, you're saving, and stacking your bread, right? Um, but yeah, that's what I would think, that if I'm in a relationship, that's what it should be like financially, right? So love, you have the love component, you have the, I would say, stability component, because that's really all it is. It's not that women are asking y'all to be rich. As a woman, I don't expect my man to be making a whole lot. I mean, if I come across that, and let's say I do find a man that's making, $500,000 or whatever, right? That's cool. Like I'm good for me, right? But I don't know that that's what the expectation is necessarily. The expectation is that you are meet me at my level, and then you're able, whether that means again that we date at my level, and then as we're dating you start to realize that you want to marry me or whatever, and you start to come up financially. Because I would think that with men too, is if I want this girl and I want a relationship and I want this, then I'm going to start building, like I said, to get that. So I would think naturally, like, how people meet in college, right? For example, because again, every scenario is different. Y'all meet on the same playing field. And then as they build, the man may find himself working up, because now he, who knows, he might find himself coming up. I'm pretty sure that's how that works usually, So again, it's not saying that you have to make it six figures. What I know from a man though is we're not staying at 55K, bro. So you gotta have ambition, you gotta have goals, you gotta have a vision for your future and what you see your future being, right? All of these things actually, believe it or not, trump love 10 times fold. Because if all you doing, if you're not putting in all these other actions that you need to be taking, you can't possibly then turn around and convince me you love me, homie, because you don't even love yourself. Having a car, having your own place, that's love for oneself. You saying I love myself too much to be homeless and not know where I'm asleep at night. I love myself too much to not be able to get to work on time or do what I got to do and what I want to do when I want to do it. Hence the car, right? So it's not, in relationships, love does not trump all of the other components that are necessary in order to build a healthy relationship. If you're not even building a healthy relationship with yourself, and it starts with establishing stability for oneself, you can't convince me you love yourself and you out struggling and on the streets and everything else. And that's no shade to someone who's struggling. I've been there before, but I also know I didn't love myself during that time. And I don't know that it had anything to do with me struggling. I don't know that I said I don't love myself because I'm struggling, as much as it is just where I was at in life. There were a lot of things that I that led me to struggle because of the lack of love for myself. Let's put it that way. So as a woman who is truly embodied, loving myself and not being egotistical, right? I'm not one of those girls that are always necessarily talking about myself and everything has to be about me and yada. But loving myself, putting myself first, treating myself the way that I expect to be treated, saying no to things that do not align with my core values and the way in which I treat myself, that's self love. But it's very difficult to do that when you're surviving, you're struggling, right? Sometimes you may find yourself in compromising situations because you don't know where your next meal is coming from, right? So once a person has their own stability, that's the key. That's what women are asking for, is stability. Stability. I don't want to be dating you and you got a roommate, and then 5 months later, while we dating, now you ain't got no place to stay, and now you trying to come stay with me because you ain't got no place to stay because your roommate done kicked you out, or y'all couldn't pay rent, or whatever the case. I don't want to be dealing with shit like that. I want a man who is stable. That's it. We can build with stability. We cannot build on a faulty foundation. It just doesn't work like that. Because now, as a man who is stable, I don't have to explain to you why I need to go to bed at such and such time, right? I don't have to explain to a man. There's certain things that because he's doing it too, you don't have to explain to him because he gets it. Women are sitting here arguing with men about shit that some of these men have never experienced. They really don't know what they talking about. They're little boys trying to figure it out. And some of them, it's a little too late. But for the men that are actually working hard, you don't have to explain to them why you're so tired, bro. They get it. They work hard too. They get off just like you do. Y'all probably get off at the same time, go to work at the same time, and get off at the same time. You know what I mean? Like the average man that's working, I don't, as a woman, you're not expecting him to ask you certain things about why you so tired. What'd you do all day? It's the man that's not working that's asking him kind of questions because he can't possibly know because he ain't been working all day. So when you come home with an attitude, right? And that man is, oh, well, why'd you have an attitude? And it's not even, sometimes your attitude has nothing to do with the man. It's not that you're intentionally trying to take it out on him. It ain't even that you're really taking it out on him, but because you're tired, but because you're short, you need at least 5-10 minutes to just decompress now that you got home. He ain't coming. It's not like he coming to rub your feet or rub your shoulders, take your coat off, grab your bag from you. If he is, kudos. But if he ain't, okay. So he could at least give you 5-10 minutes to readjust and realize you're at home now. You're no longer at work. You can decompress. If he's asking you why you need to decompress, what's wrong? All up in your face. And you just got home. He ain't working. Like, I just think that certain things women have to understand. Like, as a woman, we understand that we above certain things. I'm not going to argue with no man about, I just got home from work. I just got off an 8-hour shift. You ain't cooked for me. There ain't no food. And the first thing you asking me about is my attitude. I just walked through the door, motherfucker. And then I probably got an attitude because I can't just come home and chill. I now gotta, and I've been in situations like this where we now gotta go figure out what we gonna eat. And because you don't work and I do, and I gotta eat something, now I gotta go to the grocery store to figure out what we gonna eat. No. Mm-mm. Them same type of men will turn around and tell a woman they love her, but can't even have a meal waiting for her for when she get home. Mm-mm. This is why we don't date broke men. Because you can't possibly understand because you broke. You can never understand. And if you broke mentally, you're broke spiritually, which means that you can't possibly love me. Those two don't coincide with one another. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like poor people, when you get in relationships, it's out of need and desperatism. Or despotism. That ain't even a word, but y'all know what I mean. So love ain't all the end all be all. You know, women loved to be in love, to the man that they marry. Yeah. But at the end of the day, love is not enough. If you're telling me, honest to God, that you love me, but you don't love yourself, I mean, okay, cool. But that don't mean that I'ma love you, right? So as a woman, I feel like women are not like the love factor is cool, but it ain't everything. Who you show up as is everything. Who you are is everything. Who you strive to be is everything. 50K a year ain't bad necessarily. I mean, to be able to live a lifestyle that I'm sure you will want to live as a married couple. I mean, yeah, 50K. Look, I'm sitting here struggling on my words, but I mean, it depends on where you live around the country, right? Obviously. it's not in my mind. I would say if you making 55K and the girl makes 60K, right? That's cool. As long as the man ain't bothered by the 60K, right? I don't think that women care about the money aspect as long as you're still treating me like a lady, right? You still taking me out on dates, right? Because as a woman, I'm gonna reciprocate, but I need you to do, I don't want to feel like the man in the relationship, right? So even if I'm making 60, 70K, you know, or higher or whatever, and you making 50K, all I want is to feel like the woman in the relationship. So the moment that jealousy bullshit starts coming out, that's a wrap. I can't do relationships. You're not gonna make me feel bad about achieving the shit I was able to achieve. So that's not an option. Um, but I mean, I guess I've never been in a relationship with a man that makes less than me. Actually, I have, I guess, but then wasn't I don't take them seriously. I don't know. I would feel like the man would have to be supportive. It would have to have good morals, good values, and literally live by them in order for that kind of dynamic for me to really work out. But if you making 55K or 50K, I don't see why you couldn't marry or date. I wouldn't marry, but I would say date a girl that's making, around the same or more. I just think I think that's realistic. I don't think women, I guess as a woman, I don't see anything wrong with that. Because off 100K, if y'all are both making a decent amount off 100K, you could build together or separately. Really, you could build whatever you want to build and literally still make more money on top of 50K. Like you can build off of 50K. I would think, and maybe I'm shooting myself too low, but I guess I don't see 50K as a bad starting point. Like maybe you meet your girl, you making 50K, but by the time y'all married, you making 100K. You know what I mean? Like I don't, as a woman, I guess I don't see anything really wrong with that. I know women will say, "Oh, he has to make 100K," but if you I think some women are just doing that. I don't know what the thought process is behind that. I really don't. Okay. Because I don't know how realistic that really is. But then again, for women who make 100K, it's easy to say because she makes that again. So if I'm making 100K and you meet me if I make 70K and you meet me at my level, I mean, I'm just saying, eventually or higher, it's gonna be 100K. So even with a woman like me, I'm saying 50K, right? But I make closer to 100K. So any man that I'm with, I could essentially say would have to make 100K, right? If we're talking about a little bit more, so my level or a little bit higher, you're looking at 100K. That ain't me saying I just want a man who got 100K. I can afford to take myself out to a fancy restaurant. I could pay for the date if I wanted to. These aren't things that are complicated to do. But if I want a man to meet me at my level or higher, I would think I think that that's a fair, honest approach. I don't think that women are saying men have to make, if I was making 30K and a man made 30K, like I said, okay, my level or higher, right? So you've got to understand what your ballpark is. What woman can you afford? You know, it's everything in a relationship. I keep telling people it's all about levels. So it's dependency. You can't go from being well, I guess people do, but codependency is not what we're striving for. That does not create a healthy relationship. That's something a boy does with his mama. You know, she cooks, she cleans, she do all that. That's cool. That's your mama. For a woman, it's like, I feel as though how you treat yourself is most important. If you don't love yourself and you ain't doing the steps to get there to where you want to be, you don't even know what you want to do in your life. You don't even have a, like I said, you do not deserve to be a part of mine. That is a path for destruction. And that man will destroy everything that I've worked for. But if he's a man of good character and he's making at my level, so if I'm making 60, 70K and he making 60, 70K, that's worth an opportunity. That's worth a conversation. That's the difference. Is understanding where you fit in. Like I said, if I make 60, 70 and the man makes 50, I mean, it's possible, but he's got to then be a very supportive, a very good morals, very good value person. Wouldn't matter. Like he would have to, his character would almost have to outshine the fact that he makes less money than me. Because I refuse. I refuse. I'm not going to date someone that doesn't understand how I got to where I got to and is going to understand that I have to walk like I appreciate everything that I earned. You ain't coming into my house destroying everything that I built for myself. There's a lot of women going through that behind men that don't have shit. So the conversation has to be balanced. A woman is not obligated to pull a man up. That is not my job, man. Now, if I'm dating you and we're married, because it really shouldn't be during no dating phase, but us being married, if we're married and say something happens to your job, because I chose to marry you through thick and thin, at that point, that's the time for that conversation. But I would think that you have earned my grace from that point. Meaning that there ain't no such thing as a serial job loser. Like you done the whole time we're dating, I better see financial stability, because the moment I don't see it, sir, you gonna have to figure that out. And you only got 30 days to do it, and it better not take you 30 days. As a woman, I don't play. If I have to show up a certain way, so the fuck do you. But let's say you was working and you got retired or laid off or something out of your control. Okay, cool. I'm going to be there to kind of pick you up, but I'm also tell you get your shit together at the same time. Well, because I'm letting you know now, we ain't doing that for too long either. I'm not funding your fucking dreams, bro. I'm not here to build your business so you can go off with Sally Mae and forget about me. But I will be your cheerleader. I will support you throughout the process of you finding your new income, your new source of income. The moment you start fucking with mine, that's when that's when we gonna have to renegotiate terms. For real. So I think that's really what women are saying. And it's not wrong to say that. We worked hard. I worked hard to get here. I went blood, sweat, and tears to get to where I'm at. Literally. I had to sacrifice. I am still making sacrifices that I don't even really want to make, but I have to make them just to be able to maintain the lifestyle that I built for myself. The fact yesterday, y'all, I went with my cousins. We went to Juneteenth. It was my first time celebrating Juneteenth. But what was so cool is I'm like, all of my cousins are pulling up. All my cousins, we all doing okay for ourselves. And it feels good. It's like that was cool that all of us were able to show up and show out. Obviously, I didn't have my daughter. That sucked. But outside of that, I got to spend time with family and all of us pulling up. Nobody, like all of us had our own cars, all of us driving, all of us doing our thing. That part was cool. That was cool to see. And I saw all of my cousins, which was kind of cool to see. So, I just expect people to do what they just date at your level. That's really all it is. It ain't that you got to make 100K. When you date in certain kinds of girls, and it's only certain kinds of girls, and I say girls for a reason, okay? Because I understand that some women are like, nah, you don't make 100K, you broke. That is a certain type of girl. And y'all have to know when you are dealing with girls versus dealing with women, they're two different things, two different mindsets. Okay. Girls are girls who are not even making 50K, but want their man to make 100K. That's a girl mindset. And do some girls graduate that league? Do some girls end up marrying a man with 100K, 300K, making less than 50K? Yes, some, very few. That's very few. I want to be clear. That is not the norm. So I know y'all used to seeing things like Pretty Women and all that, and you think that, oh, the movies got folks thinking that grown ass, rich, successful men are marrying the waitress. No, buddy. That's not low key. That's nah. Because men that are making that kind of money understand what it took to get there. Do you understand? It goes back to that. It's always going to boil back to what it took me to get to this spot. And when I'm marrying, I have to marry someone that understands that and is only going to build me up and not tear me down. Did you guys not see what happened between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? That was a dynamic Johnny Depp had no business being in. And I guarantee you, a lot of his friends told him so. No business being. That was a little girl he was dealing with. Certain men, I don't know why they fall trapped to these little girls. That's fine. That's cool. But you want a woman, the idea behind it is to have a partner that if something was to happen to you, they can take over. They can keep running with things. They can keep building. They can keep doing on your behalf and their behalf. You want a partner. If you're making $1 million a year, well, I want to marry someone that knows how to train my children on how to make $100 million, $1 million a year. What the fuck do I look like being a millionaire, having babies with someone who makes less than 30K, and now this girl can't teach my kids not shit? What the fuck do I look like? I want my daughters, right, to be of a certain prestige. So why would I marry a woman that makes less than 30K knowing damn well she don't walk with that prestige? She don't have it. She was never taught it. And if I'm going to teach her it, I have to buy all these services just to get her to become the woman that I need her to be, just to be side by side with me and look equally yoked. So if y'all think that men of a certain stature are marrying women that make less than them, they're not. These men are marrying women that are equally yoked, that have something to bring to the table. And this isn't, again, it's not financially, it is not all emotion based. A partnership is a partnership. This is business. It is business just as much as it is pleasure. Probably more business than pleasure in sometimes. So it's if I'm gonna go into business with someone, right? I gotta trust that person. I gotta be able to know that I'm gonna see an investment on my return. Love ain't got shit to do with shit at the end of the day. It's very, and again, if we're talking about the way in which we distribute the words love today, it ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But if you love me, you love yourself. And if you love yourself, then you are putting your best foot forward every single day, meaning that at that point, you and I should not be clashing over stupid shit like money because you're doing the work, you're putting in the effort, you're doing your part, plain and simple. So I don't think women are saying you have to make 100K. I think the money symbolizes what women want, right? Because again, if you're making 100K, I don't have to explain to you why I'm tired every day. And if I do have to explain that to you, then that becomes a character flaw that's really on you that I'm not putting up with. Period. You don't want me to work, then you better pay for my work. You better pay for my lifestyle. I'm not downgrading my lifestyle to accommodate you. You don't want me to work, then I should be receiving my salary every single month and I want a raise. Do you understand me? I want to see my salary, listen, times two. If you talking about I'm not working, I better have a 401k, right? I better have all of these things in place. Money to shop whenever I want to shop. All the things that I'm able to do for myself, I better be able to do with you if that's the kind of conversation you gonna have with me. Otherwise, I expect the man to understand that I'm tired just like you. So just like you got off of work and you may not want to cook, I feel the exact same way. So that's all I gotta say, y'all. I'm gonna do a part two and a part three, but what's love got to do? It ain't got shit to do with shit. Would it be nice to be in love with my partner? Yes. I'm not marrying unless I'm in love because I gotta be able to die. Like I gotta be able to live with you for the rest of my life. Like I say, I'm not a woman that believes in divorce. I will get a divorce. Don't get it twisted. I will straight up get me a divorce if it came down to it, but I don't believe in it. So I prefer not to. I would prefer to marry right the first time. So women are not saying, and I know that it's confusing because women are diverting from the princess prince fairy tale. Once you realize, see, the hardest part about this is women grow up believing we're princesses, right? And the whole princess fairy tale dynamic. But when you get out in the real world, unless you got parents that have really worked hard to shelter you from the real world, right? Once you start dealing with real world issues and problems, you start to realize that there is no prince showing up, and the only things that are showing up are frogs. Okay. So after a woman, the princess, after a minute, it becomes like Damsel, the movie where the princess ends up saving herself. So at that point, the narrative that this man is just gonna come in and sweep me off my feet, and oh, we're just gonna be in love, and he's gonna no, that diminishes all of it. If men actually, like if we lived in Bridgerton time, then yes, all the women could be like women of Bridgertons because the men are already prepared to marry. They got big money. They already ready to spend and give her a life she could dream of, right? But we do not live in that time. So the fairy tale dynamic wears off. You start to realize ain't nobody coming to save you. When I was homeless, carrying my suitcase on walking, ain't no man, ain't no prince come stop, pull over and be like, girl, I got you. Get your bags, put them in my trunk. I got you forever. You have all the money, no man did that. No man said I was Cinderella that day. Okay. They watched me walk with my bags. Okay. So once women start to realize that there is no Captain Saver, like nobody's coming to save us, and we doing it on our own, that idea that a man is just gonna take care of me and I'm just gonna be okay with what he has, no. You're gonna have to be able to provide the lifestyle that I'm able to provide for myself to me for that to happen. So I think men need to start understanding girls are saying you need to make 100K. Women are saying, hey, you need to have your shit together. I don't recall that being 100K. But I know damn well you should not have to live at my house. You should not have to be driving my fucking car. You should not have to be eating my food. Anything you should be doing, you should never take from me. You should never have to take from me. You should always be giving to me. If you're taking from me, you are a liability. I cannot fuck with you. It's that simple. So that's all I got to say on the matter, y'all. With that being said, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. I'm out. Peace.